The Haunting of Dunwich. Written by Ethan Blackwood and narrated by Sebastian Wolfe. Perched atop a craggy, windswept mountaintop, the remote village of Dunwich was a place steeped in dark history and unsettling legends. Centuries ago, Dunwich had been a refuge for a secretive coven of witches who left their arcane marks on the village's twisted streets and ancient dwellings. A single meandering road led through the dense woods to this mysterious place, where sunlight rarely managed to break through the thick canopy above. It was here, amid the shadows of the past, that the enigma of the Dunwich horror began. Enter Simon Draycott, a weary traveller from London. A scholar of the occult, he sought to uncover the truth behind mysterious artifacts and supernatural phenomena, a pursuit that led him to Dunwich. His horse, spooked by some unseen creature, had thrown him and bolted, leaving him to navigate the twisted paths on foot. Cold, wet, and hungry, he stumbled into the village, seeking shelter and sustenance. As Simon entered Dunwich, a sense of trepidation washed over him. The villagers, aware of their own dark history, regarded him with a mix of curiosity and caution, their eyes reflecting their individualized experiences. Some faces bore the lines of age, while others held the innocence of youth, but each villager's reaction to Simon's arrival hinted at their own unique stories. Undeterred by the unnerving atmosphere, Simon approached the village's only inn, the Whispering Willow. The innkeeper, a gaunt woman with sunken eyes, hesitated before granting him a room. Her gaze drifted to a small, worn pendant around his neck, and her eyes widened momentarily in recognition. It was a family heirloom, bearing the Draycott crest, a serpent coiled around a silvery moon. "You wear the mark of the Draycotts," she said softly. "They were once powerful protectors of this village. Be cautious, stranger, for dark forces still linger here, forces that your family once stood against." Her words, both a warning and a plea, echoed in Simon's mind as he took the room key and ascended the creaky stairs to his temporary refuge. As night fell, Simon lay in the small, musty bed, unable to sleep, his thoughts consumed by the enigmatic village and the innkeeper's cryptic words. Rain pelted the windows, creating a symphony of tapping and creaking, as the old inn seemed to groan beneath the weight of the storm. Just as Simon felt himself slipping into a fitful sleep, the sound of hushed whispers and frantic footsteps reached his ears, shattering the illusion of peace and thrusting him into the heart of the Dunwich horror. Roused by the unsettling sounds outside his room, Simon's curiosity overcame his weariness. Dressing quickly, he grabbed a lantern and cautiously ventured out into the inn's dimly lit hallway. The hushed whispers he had heard moments ago seemed to have dissipated, replaced by a palpable tension hanging in the air. Making his way downstairs, Simon discovered a small group of villagers, their faces etched with worry, gathered in the inn's common room. As they noticed Simon's presence, they fell silent, their eyes darting between him and each other. Sensing their unease, Simon decided to address them. "I couldn't help but hear the commotion. Is everything all right?" An older man, his face lined with the weight of many years, hesitated before responding. "We have lost another one of our own, a young woman. It seems the dark forces that haunt our village have claimed yet another victim." Simon's heart clenched at the news. He couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility for the woman's fate, given his family's history in the village. Determined to help, he offered his assistance. "I've come to Dunwich to learn more about the darkness that plagues this village. My family once protected this place, and I want to help in any way I can." The villagers exchanged uneasy glances, their initial apprehension slowly giving way to a glimmer of hope. The older man spoke again. "We appreciate your offer, Simon Draycott. We buried her near the edge of the woods, where we found her lifeless body. Perhaps there you may find some clues that could lead us to the source of this evil." As the storm raged outside, Simon ventured into the darkness, the rain and wind lashing relentlessly against his face. The flickering glow of the lantern cast an eerie light on the village's ancient buildings and the surrounding woods, heightening his sense of unease. Reaching the edge of the woods, Simon discovered the fresh grave of the young woman, marked by a simple wooden cross. The rain had blurred the surrounding ground, but his keen eyes caught a trail of destruction, broken branches and trampled grass, leading deeper into the forest. Steeling his resolve, Simon ventured onward, determined to solve the mystery and protect the village from the darkness that sought to consume it. As Simon followed the trail of destruction through the dark, rain-soaked forest, the sense of foreboding that had hung over Dunwich since his arrival intensified. The twisted trees loomed overhead, their gnarled branches forming an oppressive canopy that seemed to close in around him. The faint glow of his lantern provided scant comfort, casting fleeting shadows that danced among the dark trunks. The further he ventured into the woods, the more apparent the signs of violence became. The ground was torn and uprooted, as if a great struggle had taken place. Despite the raging storm, an unnatural silence had fallen over the forest, its eerie quietude betraying the presence of a malevolent force lurking nearby. As he pressed on, Simon felt the power of the Draycott pendant around his neck begin to stir. Its surface, which had lain dormant since his confrontation at the church, now pulsed with a faint, silvery glow. The pendant seemed to be reacting to the unseen darkness permeating the woods. Before long, Simon found himself standing before the entrance to a long-forgotten crypt, its decrepit facade clawed and scored by monstrous hands. The trail of destruction led directly to its imposing doors, which stood slightly ajar, the darkness within beckoning him to enter. Gathering every ounce of courage, Simon pushed open the heavy doors, revealing a chamber shrouded in shadows. His lantern cast a dim light upon the walls, which were etched with grotesque images of twisted, serpentine creatures locked in eternal battle with humans bearing the Draycott crest. The air within the crypt was thick with the scent of decay, and a palpable sense of evil seemed to emanate from its very stones. Cautiously, Simon stepped deeper into the crypt, the pendant around his neck glowing brighter with each footfall. The oppressive darkness within seemed to react to the pendant's light, recoiling like a living entity. As he reached the heart of the crypt, he discovered an altar, upon which lay the remains of a ritual, candles, bones, and strange symbols scrawled in blood. As Simon surveyed the grim scene, the serpent's shadow emerged from the darkness, its twisted form even more grotesque and terrifying than before. Its eyes locked onto Simon, filled with hatred and fury. The confrontation between the last of the Draycotts and the ancient evil had begun. The serpent's shadow lunged at Simon with terrifying speed and malice, its claws slicing through the air with lethal intent. Simon narrowly dodged the attack, his heart hammering in his chest as he realized the true power of the enemy he faced. With the Draycott pendant in hand, Simon tapped into its power, a surge of energy coursing through his veins. As the pendant glowed brighter, Simon felt a newfound strength and courage rising within him. He was the last of the Draycotts, and he was determined to stand against the darkness that threatened the village he had come to care for. As the battle commenced, Simon and the serpent's shadow clashed again and again within the confines of the crypt, the echoes of their struggle resonating through the ancient structure. The pendant's light served as both a weapon and a shield, repelling the creature's repeated assaults while illuminating the crypt's grotesque imagery. With each strike from the serpent's shadow, Simon could see the fear in the eyes of the villagers flash through his mind, their hopes and dreams resting on his shoulders. This only fueled his determination to protect them, to honor the legacy of his family, and to end the darkness that had claimed so many innocent lives. As the battle raged on, Simon grew more adept at harnessing the pendant's power, discovering new ways to channel its energy into forceful attacks. His connection to the pendant deepened, the combined strength of generations of Draycotts lending him the power to face the monstrous foe before him. Meanwhile, back in the village, the innkeeper Agnes gathered the anxious villagers in the common room of the Whispering Willow. As they huddled together, offering prayers and support for Simon, Agnes recounted the history of the Draycott family, their long-standing role as protectors of Dunwich, and the power of the pendant that now aided Simon in his battle against the serpent's shadow. Fear and hope clung to their hearts as they waited for news of the epic struggle deep within the woods. In the depths of the crypt, the battle between Simon and the serpent's shadow reached a fever pitch. The creature, sensing its impending defeat, let loose a vicious, desperate assault, determined to destroy Simon and the pendant with a final devastating blow. Simon, bruised and battered but undeterred, knew that this was the moment he had to seize. The opportunity to end the nightmare that had plagued Dunwich for generations. With the serpent's shadow bearing down upon him, Simon called upon the full power of the Draycott pendant. Its light swelled, radiating like a miniature sun within the confines of the crypt, casting the nightmarish images on the walls into stark relief. The serpent's shadow, sensing the imminent threat, recoiled and let out a guttural growl. Drawing upon the courage and strength of his ancestors, Simon stood firm, the pendant pulsing with power in his outstretched hand. As the serpent's shadow launched itself at him with reckless abandon, Simon focused his will into the pendant and with a mighty cry unleashed the full extent of its power upon the monstrous creature. A torrent of silver-white light erupted from the pendant, engulfing the serpent's shadow in its brilliant, radiant embrace. The creature shrieked in agony, its form contorting and writhing, as if the light were tearing it apart from within. Bit by bit, the darkness that composed its twisted visage dissipated into wisps of black, disintegrating under the onslaught of the pendant's power. Back in the village, the storm that had raged overhead began to subside, the clouds gradually parting to reveal the first rays of dawn. The villagers, still gathered in the inn, looked to the horizon with a mixture of hope and trepidation, praying for the safe return of their would-be saviour. As the last remnants of the serpent's shadow vanished, the pendant's light began to fade, returning to its dormant state. Exhausted but triumphant, Simon stood in the now silent crypt, the weight of his victory mixed with the memory of those who had been lost to the darkness. With the battle won, Simon emerged from the crypt and made his way back to Dunwich. His heart swelled with relief as he saw the villagers waiting for him, their faces alight with hope and gratitude. They embraced him as their saviour, the hero who had freed them from the malevolent grip of the serpent's shadow. Together, they mourned the lives that had been lost, but also celebrated the newfound peace that had been won thanks to Simon's bravery and determination. In the days that followed, the village of Dunwich began to heal. The villagers worked together to rebuild their homes and lives, bolstered by the knowledge that the darkness had been vanquished. With the threat of the serpent's shadow gone, they were free to forge a new path, their sense of community and camaraderie stronger than ever. Simon, having unlocked the truth about his family's legacy and the power within him, chose to remain in the village of Dunwich. He felt a strong connection to the people and the place, and with Agnes by his side, they dedicated themselves to ensuring that the darkness could never return. Their bond, forged amidst the struggle against the serpent's shadow, deepened, and together they continued to explore the ancient arts, becoming guardians of the village. The villagers, grateful for Simon and Agnes's unwavering courage, embraced them wholeheartedly. They rebuilt the church, turning it into a symbol of hope and faith, where the memory of the Dunwich horror served as a reminder of the strength and resilience of the human spirit. The once haunted village was now a beacon of light, a testament to the power of unity and determination in the face of unimaginable evil. As the years passed, the legend of the Dunwich horror became a part of the village's history, a tale passed down through generations as both a cautionary reminder and a celebration of the triumph of light over darkness. The name Simon Draycott, the last of his bloodline, and Agnes, the wise and brave woman who stood by him, would be forever remembered as the heroes who brought salvation to Dunwich. Children played in the once dreaded woods, laughter replacing the whispers of fear that had haunted their ancestors. The villagers lived their lives in peace, knowing that they were protected by the legacy of Simon and Agnes, and the power of the Draycott pendant. In the end, the village of Dunwich rose from the ashes of its dark past to become a shining example of hope, perseverance, and the unyielding belief that even in the face of unspeakable evil, the indomitable spirit of humanity can and will prevail. Throughout the years, the villagers would look back on the night when the darkness was vanquished, their hearts swelling with gratitude and pride. Although the scars of the past remained, they served as a reminder of what they had overcome, and a testament to the power they held to shape their own destiny. And as each new generation listened to the tale of the Dunwich horror, they would carry the legacy of Simon Draycott and Agnes, living proof of the resilience and strength of the human spirit.